Got it.
Great. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. We are in volume 1 of the Zohar. And the reason we're in volume 1, consider that this week is a double portion. It's Tazria Metzora. But because today is the new moon of Iyar, of Taurus, it's our practice to go to volume 1, to the seed level, to the prologue to the Zohar, and connect to some foundational concepts. I mean, they're all foundational, but volume 1 has a lot of very specific foundational concepts. So it's a great opportunity to do that and connect to the seed level of Zohar. At the same time, we're connecting to the seed level for the month of Taurus, of Iyar. So some new moons are 2 days. This is a 1-day new moon. And it's a great opportunity to think about what lies ahead for us this month. It's also important to consider what the energy is of this month. I mean, every month has a unique energy, and the month of Iyar of Taurus has its own unique energy. And so before we get going, I just want to highlight a couple of things. One is that Iyar, which is the Hebrew for Taurus, is Aleph Yud Yud Resh, which what the sages teach is an abbreviation from Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am the creator who is here to heal you. So at a seed level, this is a month of healing. And so whatever healing we need, whatever healing those in our world need, this is the opportunity to have those people in mind, those situations in mind, and to channel the energy of healing. And we'll have that in mind as we connect to the Zohar today. But we have that all month, but we especially have it today because today is the seed level for the month. The other thing is that this week's portion, Tazria Metzora, which we're not going to connect with directly, is all about different consequences, physical consequences. But one of the teachings is that the way we avoid illness, certainly some illnesses, is to avoid evil speech. So this is a big week and connection, Sabbath connection, Shabbat connection for eliminating evil speech, Lashon Hara. And Lashon Hara is like, it's not just saying something negative about something. I mean, it is about that, no question. But it's also just guarding our speech, watching what it is that we say. We want always our consciousness to be approaching life from a cup half full perspective, not a cup half empty perspective. And part of doing that is trying to guard what we think and how we perceive things, but it's also how we speak and what we say. Are we coming from a positive perspective? Or are we coming from a negative perspective? And we all do this. Even speaking about negative speech, you don't want to be talking negatively, because words have power. And when we think, speak, take action, those things have consequences in our world. Our words are energy. It's energy consciousness. It's one thing to be thinking negatively. It's another thing. It's next level when we speak that way. And we manifest that energy. So, all things to think about. Before we begin the reading, let's invite in the lineage of the Rav and Karen, Michael, Rabbi Shlag, Rabbi Brandwein, the Iyar Chodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Mazulai, Rabbi Nachman Delovitepsk, Rabbi Kolonim Shapir Piasetson, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Mordechai Chernobyl, one soul with Joseph the righteous, Yosef Atzadik in Shechem. Today is also the anniversary of elevation for Rav Yosef Halevi, the Ibn Megaz, also Rav Yaakov Berav, the Mahari Berav, and also Rav Chaim Vital. Rav Chaim Vital was the primary student of the Ari. And the Ari was very specific. He told Rav Chaim Vital, I came to this world for one reason, and that was to teach you Kabbalah. And so Rav Chaim Vital becomes the scribe for all the teachings that we have from the Ari. The Ari, Rav Isaac Loyer, is the greatest Kabbalist, universally recognized as the greatest Kabbalist of the past 500 years. And I mean universally. And so we have his writings. They're called the Kitvei Hari, the writings of the Ari. And so today's an amazing opportunity for us to connect to both the teachings and the writings of the Ari through Chaim Vital. So that is a very significant anniversary of elevation that we have. So we have the assistance of him, especially today also. As we connect to these verses of the Zohar, let's have, again, a consciousness of spreading the light of healing throughout the world, wherever we are, of recognizing the unity in our world, of removing negativity, of protection from evil speech, of protection from evil eye, of, again, healing, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual healing, of the energy of ahavat chinam, unconditional love for everyone, and also treating everybody with human decency. So we're in volume 1, the prologue, and it is verse 204. The article is called The Third Precept. There's about 14 foundational precepts.
What page number are we starting on?
It's in my book, it's page 121.
Okay.
So let's dive in. 204. Pikuda Tlita. The name of this precept is constant awareness of the Creator. Pikudat lita leminda diit ilaha ravrava v'shalita be'alma ulyachada le b'chol yoma yichuda kitkayaot be'inun shit sitrin ilain u'mebad lon yichida chada b'shit tevin dishma Yisrael u'chavna ru'uta la'ela b'hadayu ve'alda echad itzrich la'arka le b'shit tevin. Roshan?
The third precept is to know that there is a great Elohim who governs the world and to proclaim his unity properly every day.
Okay, so we're going to get into how we proclaim it and what the consciousness is. But before we get to that, it's this idea that somebody's in charge. Well, let's face it. That's a hard thing to really be conscious of, because we encounter a chaotic world. It looks like things are just happening chaotically, right? Turn on the news, read the newspaper, talk to my friends, my family. There's chaos going on everywhere. There's no rhyme or reason. Well, that's an illusion. And so part of the benefit we're getting in connecting to this section is to be able to rise above a consciousness of seeing everything as chaotic and understanding it's an illusion. There's a difference between things looking chaotic and not knowing the reasons. We just don't know the reasons. We just don't merit to see what's going on. So it would look chaotic. But ultimately, it's just because we don't merit to see the deeper reality. And sometimes we do merit to see the deeper reality. It's like there's a book, it's called The Blessing of a Skinned Knee, where it's basically all about when you raise your children, you have to give them a little bit of leeway to make mistakes. Because the only way to learn is to make mistakes. We have a culture, we look at mistakes as like bad things. They're not. It's how we develop experience. It's how we learn. We fall when we first start to walk. That's how we learn how to walk. And that repeats throughout our life. We're always trying something and falling down. It's like the first time you did anything, how many times did you get it right? It's all trial and error. This is just the nature of being in this world. So we perceive chaos. It's not chaos. It's just that we don't perceive the reasons. And it's a very, very deep teaching. And when you approach life in that way, it's like there's no opportunity for me to beat up on myself for making a mistake. David Guillaume, one of the senior teachers who I had an opportunity to hear a couple times speak when I was out in LA for Passover, he in one of the workshops he did, he said that he makes mistakes all the time. I mean, that's amazingly vulnerable to admit that. So I make mistakes all the time, but based on my readings of the Kabbalists and my studies, what the Kabbalists say is the Creator actually pushed you into making that mistake. It's like it was unavoidable. There's no sense in beating yourself up for something that was unavoidable. Yeah, I would like for it to have played out differently, but I don't always control that. That was a necessary step to get me on the current trajectory. He said, this was Guillaume is also a business person. He shared from an entrepreneurial standpoint, really successful entrepreneurs, they make mistakes all the time, but they don't drag those mistakes along with them. They learn from them. That's just at a very simple level. I make a mistake. I'm like, you know what? I was a mistake, but it positioned me to make a better decision next time around. Okay. At a 1% level, that's great. At a 99% level, I didn't have a choice to make that mistake. That was going to happen in one way or another. Because that's the journey that my soul is on. It's like, wow. When you look at it from that perspective, take a step back and just, take a moment to chill out and give yourself a break. There's a real opportunity to like lean in with some self-compassion and move on and let go. Because that's what happens. We make mistakes and then we can't let go. And we're dragging it along. No, that was bound to happen. I had a situation this week where I was waiting for a situation to play out based on a mistake. And I'm like, I wish I had done it differently. But the truth is that there was no way to do it differently. I didn't know any better. If we knew better, we wouldn't have made the mistake. We don't. It's part of it. It's more than that. It's the Creator forcing us into that mistake. All right. Yeah, but what about the humiliation? That burn of humiliation, it's reducing your ego. What do I mean reducing you? It's giving you a more soulful connection to who you really are, to your soul. So right off the bat, what we're talking about is an opportunity to really rise above the illusion of chaos that we encounter in this world, to develop a deeper, more elevated consciousness. That's the first benefit we get. And it's okay, that sounds great, but even in terms of our lives, the decisions we make that we're not happy with, we need to let go of those, because to a great degree, the Creator pushed us into this. And so when we talk about an awareness of the Creator, it's part of what we're talking about. Yes, Maria.
I hear what you're saying here and all you're referencing and this sentence that we just only cover, but it's not that easy. I'm sorry.
It's not.
I mean,
Maria, you've never made a real mistake in your life.
I mean, I get it when we make that I'm going to call it tangible and intangible. Tangible is like when we're doing some work and we just make the mistakes and it's being corrected. Okay, I get that, right? And sometimes, me, Taurus, right? I drive myself nuts because I make that mistake. And granted, and you're correct. Sometimes it takes us a couple tries until we get it corrected. I get that, and we go through that certain process in our life from growing up until even in our level of career where we are right now in our lifestyle. But also comes the intangible, the one that I call like our personal mind, our mind going to like challenging us. You're not good enough, or you're doing this, and is it good enough? And torturing myself. Like I put myself last weekend, it was torture for me because my boss was coming into town and he never comes on a Monday. And the last time he came on a Monday was to let someone go. Granted, I'm okay at my job, but I just like, you never know what it's.
No, it triggers the movie. Starts.
Yes. There you go. And I was like, oh my God, he's coming on a Monday. What's going on? And I was all weekend. It was.
And now that movie's playing all weekend because you're not going to find out till Monday.
Exactly. And then Monday came and his flight got canceled. He didn't make it until Tuesday. So there goes another day. But by Tuesday, by Monday afternoon, I was like,
it wasn't enough torture. You needed another day.
Exactly. And then he comes to me on Tuesday. As soon as he walks in to my office and he goes, we have lunch today, you and me. And I'm like, what the hell? But it's still not worried because there's a lot of things going on. But again, and when it comes to over the weekend, that non-tangible, the what I'm calling the emotion, the ego, how the ego took over me over the weekend. And I was just going on and I could not let go. I will literally sit, I will go for a walk, I'll get out and do things. And it was in my head constantly. And I'm like, how
okay, that's normal. That's normal.
Then you say we have to let go. How? I mean,
one of the ways, so like we have these mindsets. And there are a lot of tools for, first of all, like doing some just straight up meditation takes things down. Because the problem is that there's like a spin going on in your head. It's like there's a frequency of thought that's going on, right? It's like, so like just meditating and slowing things down and grounding yourself. Like we have to find ways to ground ourselves. I mean, reading Zohar is a very good way to ground ourselves. Pulling out the 72 names and finding a name that assists us in focusing our energies and our consciousness in a positive way is another way. Doing something of a sharing nature for somebody, helping someone else out is a way to get out of our heads. But we all do that. You described it very well, Maria. We all do that. And the other thing I would say is, like I used to, now I don't really travel for business so much, but I used to get in the car and drive around to places and invariably I'd be running late, especially if an appointment runs late, the next appointment, and I'd be freaking out about showing up late. It's the worst thing to do for an appointment. And I would look at the clock and I'm like, I got to be there in 25 minutes and I only got 20. I mean, I gotta be there in 20 minutes and I'm not gonna be there for 25. And I would say to myself, you're not late yet. So far, you're not late. You may be late, but like, save the anxiety for when you're actually late. So far, you're not. So like, one of the things you could say, Maria, in that situation is, I might get fired Monday, but right now I'm still working.
but again, it was about how my mind took it to the extreme.
I know, that's what happens. It's like we have to find ways. And as silly as it sounds like, hey, I'm still working, we have to find ways to interrupt that thought pattern. Yeah, right. So far I am working. He may never make it to town.
And then it wasn't none of that. It was something else.
I know.
But I think it's just the experience, also the growing up that is attached to us, that out of one simple example, that back stuff that we haven't let go triggers back in.
Yes. But like now, like the next time he comes in on Monday, you'll have the experience of knowing, well, he has come in on Monday and it hasn't been bad. So thanks for sharing that. That was great. Suzanne, I see your hands up.
Yeah, I have a couple of things to add to that. And we're in the Omer, but I mean, just you going through this, this kind of self-care approach is a fabulous reminder. And I'm in a different spot than I was a few months ago, where I had to deal with anger issues and stuff like that, where they would just kind of like blurt and fly out of me. Where now I'm in this like grateful place that I've gone through really what people outside of Kabbalah would consider torture. and I say that lovingly, laughing, I mean, you got to make fun of it, but because I'm just in another space since Passover in particular and Shovavim, it was really pivotal. But I think, to address what Maria was saying, is sometimes it feels like Velcro, like, proactive formula, pause, stop. The mind can only work, it's that fight or flight thing, or freeze, fight or flight, where the mind can only work with past experiences, right? So you just have to breathe, calm down, or get, like you say, use the tools, reach out, be about somebody else, whatever, and let the situation pass, whatever it is. I mean, I'd have to say the same thing, but, or sometimes we get the rude awakening of, just being something hitting our pride. You know what I mean? Like, that's not an easy experience.
Yes, some kind of humiliation.
Yeah, he like massive humiliation. I'd rather like go to sleep and sleep it off.
Right. But the
anyways,
thing is that it's not going away. You're gonna
right.
you
It
wake
does
up to
build
it.
the vessel.
No,
right?
it's like, listen, we all need to be present to what we're feeling. Because those feelings are also coming from the creator. Even that feeling of humiliation ultimately is coming from the universe. It's coming from the creator. And so whatever we're feeling is like telling us why am I feeling this? There's a reason. We need to go deeper. If we ignore the feeling, if I just go take the nap, I'm gonna sleep it off. I'm like marginalizing it. It's like ignoring your text messages at your own peril. It's like we get messages, we get text, emails, phone calls, whatever. We get messages. If we ignore them, that will create chaos. We will experience chaos, right? The same thing with our feelings. If we ignore our feelings, we are setting ourselves up for chaos, because the universe is going to have to find a harder way to get our attention. So all these things that we experience are coming from the universe to assist us on the journey we came here to complete, to deal with the spiritual growth, the tasks, so to speak, that our soul came here to work on. And you raise a good question in terms of Suzanne, you're a Taurus?
No, I'm a Cancer.
Oh, you're a Cancer. Oh, like me. Oh,
Yeah, like most of that sleepy
Maria's
syndrome
not
is the
like-
overwhelming fear. That's where that is. But sometimes there is direct humiliation, with the pride thing,
right.
But
So,
I
but the
kind
other
of
thing
look
is like more related to like this month, like, and this is really important in terms of the energy we're encountering today, we're encountering all month. Taurans, like, they're not good with change. I listened to a lecture given by Karen Berg recently on a new moon lecture from 2015, where she's like, if you pull the rug out from all under a Tauran, they go nuts. You can drag that rug all over the room. They're not letting go. They're going to be kicking and screaming the whole time. It's like, we got to let go. That rug there. Yes, yeah, Maria?
I could add to that. Last summer, I had to move from my comfortable place to another place. And trust me, for 3 months, I was in pain. I couldn't get out of bed because I had to move.
Because you had to move. Exactly. I mean, that's like textbook Taurus. But the thing is, it opens up other opportunities. Things are always changing. I saw this video where someone did an animation of our solar system. The sun's in the middle and the planets are rotating ever so neatly around the sun. That's our solar system. That's not accurate. That's not what it looks like. The sun is this ball of fire flying through space, and the planets are just orbiting out of the graphic is amazing when you look at it that way. That's the reality. That's your life. You can think you're in the neat little orbit of the sun, but you're not. It's an illusion. Change is the constant.
Totally brought new thought towards gravitational pull watching that video.
I know, right? It was a mind blower. Oh, it's all so neat. No, it's not neat. It's messy. Physical physicality is messy. And so part of the opportunity that we have this month is to, things are changing, and we just have to have a consciousness of looking at it from the best, the universe, the creator is sending me this because it's the next step on my journey.
Yeah, and I want to just add something too. When those things like anger or, like a humiliation of pride, something that's pretty bad, like really takes you out, you know what I mean? And you might not really be in ultimate control, if you will. There's sometimes where we are, and that's like a huge blessing, right? But sometimes it's just like, oh my God, you feel like so big, or at least it feels that way to your perception. But I do believe that what I try to remind myself now of is, hey, it's making room. Just be grateful. It's making room for something so much better.
Yes.
At least you took the lid off. You know what I mean? It got exposed. That so what? It wasn't pretty. It was real, like you say, messy.
Right. I want to you remind me, when you say anger, you remind me of a theme that's been coming up lately. So this is actually also is a post that David Guillaume made on Instagram. If you want to follow him, it's David Guillaume, Giyyam on Instagram. Anyhow, when great wealth is about to come to a person, he or she will be tested with anger. What? What's one have to do with the other? So apparently what our teachers teach, what I believe the Iyar taught, and by the way, the Iyar told, it's fascinating actually, the Iyar told Rabbi Chaim Vital that one of his tikkunim was anger. So one of the teachings is that there is a source for where our souls come from in the upper realm. And there are three things that come from that source: life, financial prosperity, probably spiritual prosperity too, and anger. So what David Guillaume is saying really is that the deeper understanding is this: when you are about to receive prosperity, it's in potential. The other side, knowing that, wants that energy for themselves. And so what they will do is try and find ways to trigger you with anger. So if you know there's prosperity headed in your direction, you're about to close a deal, you're about to get a new job, whatever kind of prosperity, be on the lookout for triggers for anger. Because that anger will dislodge the prosperity that is headed your way. And with Chaim Vital with us today, it's also an amazing teaching, an amazing opportunity for us to enhance our consciousness along those lines. Yes, Roshin.
It struck me in Michael's talk last night for the new moon, that when he gave us that very grounding meditation on the Vav and said, we have to do this every day this month. And we're talking about that we have to do something every day to bring the light of the Creator into our lives. But I mean, it sounded like a kind of warning. That's what it sounded like when you were talking about how prosperity or good fortune attracts the other side to us. And we need to be able to ground ourselves and channel the light instead of paying attention to that.
Yes. Yeah. It is, caution. Yeah. By the way, the Pei and the Vav are the letters that channel, the energy of blessings and protection for us this month in our dealings with the planet Jupiter, which is the dominant planet for Taurus and Taurus itself. And so if you're saying the Anabakoach, and if you're using a lot of the meditations that we were taught, you're going to be using the Pei and the Vav as you connect to the Anabakoach and the tools that we have there. But yeah, it was a very helpful meditation. I know for me, like I was doing the meditation and I was out cold. I'm sure I heard it at some level. I heard a lot of it, but yeah, that was a really important teaching relative to where we want to be seed level for the month of Taurus. Okay, let's continue. Roshan, where were we? I think so. Okay, so again, that's why this section I feel so apropos, and I don't even see all the reasons why it was so apropos, is this constant awareness of the creator. Is it about picturing someone up there pulling the strings? Well, I mean, I guess it's not helpful. That's helpful. But it is an awareness that, you know, there is a design to what's going on, even though we don't see it. And so when we see things, I'm like, oh my God, that's so chaotic. No, it's not. That came from the light. That is part of an awareness of the creator. When okay, so I'm setting myself for this up month. What are my opportunities? The light of the creator is coming through the astrological signs and the planetary influences that are dominant this month. The difference between Kabbalistic astrology and Chinese astrology or other astrologies is that it's not Jupiter that's the source for the energy for this month. It's the creator using Jupiter as the channel. That's the dominant channel. That's our dashboard. That tells us what's going on. What we know about Jupiter tells us a lot about what's happening this month. What we know about Taurus tells us about what's going on this month. It's just the dashboard. It's the channel. When you look at your dashboard and you see, you know, there's a half a tank of gas, that's just the dashboard. The gas tank's in the back or wherever it is. Assuming you don't have an electric car. But either way, that isn't the gas, it's a gauge. It's the dashboard. The dominant planetary influence, Jupiter, and the dominant astrological sign, Taurus, the letter Pe, the letter Vav, these are the channels for the energy that is dominant this month. And this is the way we strap on the surfboard and ride the wave, as opposed to letting it knock us down. Okay. So what else do we know about awareness of the creator? Keep going.
Okay. To proclaim properly every day using this.
Okay, so how do we proclaim unity every day? That's the prayer known as Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael is Shem Elokeinu, Shem Echad. That is our connection to the upper realm. And then silently, in an undertone, we say, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. That is manifestation. We take the energy from potential into manifestation. Through this, two of the most powerful phrases that we have, two of the most powerful tools, or one of the most powerful tools that we have are those two lines. Each of those lines has 6 words. Oh, what a coincidence. No such thing. Well, it's really not random. It's a coincidence that those 6 words correspond to, go ahead, keep going. The 6 extremities, using.
Okay, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Tzachod, and Yesod of Zeir Anpin.
Yes, those 6 words are connecting to the 6 levels of the creator directly above our level. We are at the level of Malchut. Between where we're at and where the creator begins, or where the creator is at, or I would say the frontier of what is knowable by a mere mortal, there are 10 levels. Right now we're focusing on the 6, if I had 6 fingers, it'd be easier, the 6 above Malchut, our realm. Those 6, with the Zohar is referred to extremities, and which Rabbi Shlag lists as Chesed, Gvura, Tzachod, and Yesod, those are energy consciousness. Those are channels that we were often referred to as the upper realm of Zeir Anpin. 6 unique levels of energy. The first is Chesed, the second is Gevura, Now, here's the thing about the 6 and the 1. We happen to be in a period known as Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer. You think it's an accident that it's Sfirat HaOmer and these are the 6 or 7 Sfirot? So it's not also. And so during these 7 weeks of the Sfirat HaOmer, which represent the period of time from when we left Egypt to when the holiday of Shavuot occurs on the 50th night, we have 49 days. We were able to gain release from bondage, even though we hadn't earned it. And so these 49 days represent our opportunity to earn that light and then fully manifest it with the revelation event that takes place when Moses climbs up to Mount Sinai on the 50th day. That's what's going on right now. Every day we're taking another step towards Shavuot, towards the revelation of this energy of the upper realm. And it's 49 days, but it's divided up into 7 weeks. The first week corresponds to the energy of chesed, mercy. The second week corresponds to the energy of gevurah, of judgment, of strength, of discipline. That ended yesterday. Last night, we entered the 15th day, the first day of the 3rd week, which is Tiferet. And so now we're in this week of balance. So when we understand, we're in like a hyper intensive connection to these sfirot during these 7 weeks, 7 sfirot, 49 days until the revelation event, until the manifestation of immortality in our world. But these sfirot are there all the time, and we connect to them in different ways. And an awareness of the sfirot is an awareness of the Creator. Those are features of the Creator. They're not independent of the Creator. Jupiter is not independent of the Creator. Taurus is not independent of the Creator. We live in a fragmented world where these show up in different windows of time. So there's always an opportunity for us to gain more clarity and a greater connection with the Creator through an awareness of what's available now. Should the heat be on or should the air conditioning be on? I mean, I look at the Sfirot as the HVAC system of reality. When you understand how the HVAC, that's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. When you understand how to work the HVAC system in your building, you'll be more comfortable. It's no different here. The greater awareness we have of the Creator, the greater awareness we have of the features of the Creator, the more clarity we have, and the more connection and closeness we have with the Creator. What do you mean closeness with the Creator? Where is the Creator? Everywhere. I don't see it. I know, that's why we're reading this section, to develop a greater awareness of the Creator. We are bathed in the light of the Creator 24/7. That's our surrounding light. And we have a spark of the Creator inside. That's our internal light. And so part also of developing a greater awareness of the Creator is not only that everything around us is infused with the light of the Creator, but everything internal is. If everything around us is infused with the light of the Creator, that means we're infused with the light of the Creator. And so this gets back to when we have self-compassion, we also want to develop an awareness, understanding that why I need self-compassion, because internally I have a light of the Creator within me. The Creator doesn't create small things. The Creator only creates things with an unlimited potential for changing the world. That's you. Unlimited. Let that sink in. Of course, you don't want to beat yourself up. You're not worthy of beating yourself up. Because to beat yourself up is to diminish the work of the Creator. That's not your job. We do not want to be diminishing the work of the Creator. So it's looking at self-love, self-compassion from a completely different perspective. Yes, of course, you need to take care of yourself at a 1% level. Even at a 1% level, you need to do that. But from a 99% level, oh my God, I'm here. I need to figure out what my mission is here. The Arizal knew it was to teach Rav Chaim Vital, which is why when Chaim Vital, he's like, oh my God, I can't believe what it's like to study with the Arizal. I got to bring some of my friends along. And when he started bringing his friends along, the Arizal said, listen, you keep bringing friends along, I'm going to have to check out. My job is not to teach them. My job is to teach you. What difference does it make? They're in the room. Well, the energy in the room is different. Who you show up with changes the whole dynamic. But also consider, if you have the spark of the Creator within you, then everyone you encounter has the spark of the Creator. If, often like when I think of self-compassion, I think of, I really should be talking to myself the way I would be talking to a friend if they had these challenges. So if Maria had called me up because she was nervous about her boss coming, and I said, look, she didn't, but she could have, but I would have said, look, you're fine. You're fine. Of course you're getting triggered. Of course you are, but you're fine. You do an amazing job. You're very capable. Go easy on yourself. It's natural, but you need to rise above that. You need to think about all the positive things and maybe make a list of all the positive things that you have going for you and remind yourself of that and keep reading that. And I could have said that. Well, self-compassion is doing the same thing for myself. But there's also a deeper teaching. We're going to wrap up with this because we're running out of time. And that is that when I criticize somebody, we shouldn't be criticizing ourselves because we are literally the work of the Creator. But when I look at someone else with judgment, I'm criticizing them. I'm still criticizing the work of the Creator. That's lashon hara. That's evil speech. That's judgment. This is not a month for judgment, and it's certainly not a month for evil speech. The consequences are catastrophic. I listened to something the Rav said about evil speech. It's like literally under Jewish law, it's like murder. And I'm like, and he's like, why would it be like murder? It's like worse than murder. Why would it be worse than murder? Well, you wouldn't kill anyone, but if you killed them, at least they're done with their work. But if you libel somebody, if you say something negative about something, it can affect their relationships, it can affect their life, it can affect their job, and they're still here. It goes on. That's why it's worse. It's the death of 1,000 knives. Yes, Ron?
I just want to add, like when you said, I could talk to somebody, I could talk to myself the way I talk to somebody and be compassionate. I just think we're not used to, observing our negative self-talk. And that's the thing you got to catch is that, how you talk to yourself is how everything shows up for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's like negative talk, not only about other people that we're aware of. What are the negative talk that we shower on ourselves internally? So this is a great opportunity today with this Shabbat, with Tazria Metzora, where Lashon Hara, the speech comes up, where we're entering the month of Taurus, where we don't want to have judgment. We want to be able to kind of be more elevated and more aware and use our tools for that, and be more not only compassionate with ourselves, but compassionate with others. It reminds me of the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, which is when you see something negative in someone else, it's the way the universe has of letting you know something about yourself that you don't see, something that's in your blind spot. It's a great teaching and a very deep teaching. Okay, we're out of time. Thank you all. Love you all. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Bachelor.
Thank you.